top and bottom heating elements can handle anything, from meatloaf to cherry pie to open-faced cheese sandwiches.
What's up, everybody? Flash Peace back. Sports. I was just watching that WandaVision they got on Disney Channel. I'm a big Marvel guy. You know, when I was a little kid, I had easily almost 5,000 comic books. You know, everything ranging from mostly Marvel, though I did a little bit of DC. I was more of a Marvel guy. I don't know what the hell they doing with that, by the way. I'm thinking about maybe adding that to my channel while I deal with my commentary on it. I think they got the Vision and the Scarlet Witch kind of trapped in some other dimension in the television, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. This is about those Brooklyn Nets who I saw last night, and I've been thinking for a while doing something on them. I wanted to wait until we saw Harden, Kyrie, and Durant play together, and I'm going to say a few things. Starting with the fact that I'm not deceived by them losing that game to the Cavs. It wasn't really real. It was really the coming together of three top shelf talents in the NBA. Three guys who never played together with limited practice time, balling, and haven't had figured out what their defensive philosophy is going to be, how to deal with certain switches, and how to best guard screen play, and all of that kind of stuff. And you kind of saw it happen there against a bad team. Now, some people are going to be deceived and believe that this means they're not a threat to the Sixers and to Milwaukee and teams like that, and that's not the way to look at it. Brooklyn Nets are a threat. They are a threat. However, they're not unbeatable. They're not unbeatable. They can be beat. That does not mean the Sixers will beat them. That will beat them. Let me explain. Here. When we look at Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving. And first off, I was one of the people that wasn't super crazy excited about trading Ben Simmons for Harden, but I would have done it. I am someone that, push come to shove, would have done it because ultimately, while my ideal player is someone a little different from James Harden, in some ways, I still had to weigh Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, rest of the guys, versus James Harden, Joel Embiid, and the rest of the guys. And the conclusion I had to come to is that my best chance to, first of all, get to the finals is James Harden, Joel Embiid, the rest of the guys, over Ben Simmons, the rest of the guys. Strangely enough, though, I feel if the Lakers got to the finals, I believe the better matchup is with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the rest of the guys than with Harden, Joel Embiid, and the rest of the guys. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm serious. When I look at that Laker team, I see a team that's built in the mode of the old school teams of the 90s and the early 2000s with great point guard play and wing play provided by LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who's just, you know, your big man. He's not so much the classic big man, though he can do classic big man things. He's more of a modern kind of day big man, but he's a dominant defensive player. You know what I mean? And then they added Gasol, who's another big man. They added Montrezl Harrell, who gives you all that energy and everything. So I feel with Ben Simmons, I have the best chance because of just the sheer athleticism and the defense of the team. With Ben Simmons, though, however, I'm not certain you get to the finals, if you know what I mean. That might sound weird, but it isn't, because I see basketball as a game of matchups. It's possible you could beat the Lakers, but not be able to beat the Clippers, though the Lakers may be better than the Clippers. Or it could be vice versa. That's the way sports works with me, and especially basketball. It's all about matchups and how you match up. I think you match up better against the rest of the East with James Harden, but I think you match up better with the Lakers with Ben Simmons, if you understand what I mean. Right? But it's something I would have done. It didn't happen. Now he's in Brooklyn. It's a reality. We got to deal with it. What are our advantages over the Brooklyn Nets versus our disadvantages? Our disadvantages are simple. They have more top shelf talent guys on the offensive end who can get their points whenever they want. And them failing will have more to do with their game not being on, more so than it will have anything to do with any particular defensive strategy you put together. Their failure more than likely will come as a result of their own selfish inability to put aside ego and follow leadership coming from a coaching staff than we will. Right? That's where their failure will come from. Ideally, theoretically, nobody in the East should stop them. That's why you got Stephen A. Smith just picking them. That's why you got guys on the morning show, first things first, picking them. That's why you got Skip Bayless picking them. The NBA, if you look through history, pretty much is about the best players, the best stars, the best offensive players. Typically they just win titles. That's what they do in the NBA. How can the Sixers beat them? Sixers have one major shot to beat them. And that is to be the more disciplined team that is following the leadership of superior coaching. Because make no mistake, between us and the Nets, the Sixers coaching staff would be rated out of 100. They would be rated more of a 99 versus the Nets coaching staff would be about a 75 for me. D'Antoni has shown that he can put together some wins, right? He can get you a winning team, but his style, his coaching methods haven't proven to bring home the jewelry. He's yet to win a title. Whereas Doc Rivers does have a title, and he has demonstrated that he is able to coach those big personalities, those first team all-pro guys, and to get them to do his Ubuntu, right? For those who watch Doc Rivers' documentary on Netflix, the documentary that featured him, Ubuntu, right? And that's what he's going to get going with the Sixers, and you can see that right now, where they're all working together as parts to a system, a superior system to what D'Antoni's running. But D'Antoni has the superior players at the top shelf anyway, top half. When it comes to depth, I think the Sixers are probably the deepest team in the Eastern Conference now. And I'm not here trying to disrespect Milwaukee and Miami as if there's some walkovers and pushovers that we don't have to worry about, or Celtics even. And I'm not trying to push this idea that Brooklyn's the only team we got to worry about. They're not. But they are the looming doom, possible doom, that's out there that everybody has to acknowledge. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. It's just crazy. If you got rid of Kyrie Irving, just James Harden, Kevin Durant should theoretically get you to the finals and put up the best thing against LeBron James. And trust me, the nation wants to see that game. That's what they want to see. So we got to play the spoiler. And make no mistake, the pattern that we have to follow is basically two teams that we should pattern ourselves after. The first one are the Houston Rockets of the 90s. They were a team that played inside out. You go into Hakeem Olajuwon. The defense had no choice but to double Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon's kicking it out to Kenny Smith, kicking out to Vernon Maxwell. He's kicking it out to Sam Cassell. He was kicking it out to number 17, my man, the small forward used to come out. Also Robert Ory. they would kill you. Sixers remind me, they have a lot of that. Yeah, going to Joel Embiid. You either going to deal with him. He dropping 25, 26 a night. Last night dropped over 40. He done that, I think, 3 times this year. So you either going to deal with him one-on-one, double him, deal with open Seth Curry, deal with open Tobias Harris, who's just playing sizzling right now, and open Danny Green, who's sizzling right now, right? So that's the team we're similar to. We're also similar to, in my opinion, the San Antonio Spurs. Right. San Antonio Spurs were a team, especially many of those years where they had to get through the Lakers and they had to get through like the Sacramento Kings teams, those good teams they had in the early 2000s. They were not always the most talented team. They definitely were not the most talented team when they went up against the big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh at all. Everyone will tell you those teams were more talented. However, they used to spank those guys. LeBron lost to them once, beat them once. But we knew the superior team in terms of the way and the brand of basketball they played was always the Spurs. The one time LeBron and Miami beat them, that was a Game 7 last-minute shot, 3-pointer by Ray Allen. But as far as they would wipe the floor with Miami most of the time. They came out the next year and swept them. This is what the Sixers have to look at. You have to have a superior team with superior coaching. What we got to hope is that the Brooklyn Nets, especially with the mentality of a Kyrie Irving, who had said earlier in the season that they don't feel they need a coach, and Kevin Durant did not correct him. You got to hope that's really their mentality, that they feel like they don't need a coach. So you'll have them on one hand playing my turn, your turn type of ball, versus us who will be playing a game that is dominated by superior coaching, because we got Doc Rivers along with Dave Yeager, we got Popeye Jones, we got Sam Cassell. That's like an all-star cast out there coaching, and you can see the results of it now. And we can't let it come down to Ben Simmons shooting threes and all of that kind of stuff. No, we got to hope they find the right role for Ben Simmons. Because honestly, I want Ben Simmons on LeBron James, on Kevin Durant in those situations. That's where he's most going to help you. It's not going to be through shooting or anything like that. All of that is going to come from the other guys we got, starters and bench-wise. All right, so that's pretty much, man, my thoughts on that. I'm not making a prediction, but I'm telling you what it is we have to do in order to beat that juggernaut, talent-wise, of the Brooklyn Nets. So there it is, man. And next time, I'm out.